wouldn't do it. They would just maybe get a so
Yeah.
Well, again, that's the funny part about cars today. When somebody, that's why you don't put a cam with because the very variable timing.
variable valve time.
You don't have that overlap to say, so you don't have that sound or that rump.
Right.
And that's one of those things that we kind of lost. And then, of course, they got computerized. It's not like you put a cam in a car anymore.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
you do with the cars I drive.
Yeah, well, like I said, you lose some of that. That's when we get into. That's funny because like my mom will say, "How come these cars don't sound like your car used to sound?" You know what I'm saying? I'm like, we don't have time to go into that. I don't have my white professor coat and clipboard. I left it at home. We don't have time to go through all this. But
tell him, I don't worry. Just watch this. Read this Nixon article.
Yeah,
keep you busy.
When Ray sends me, when I get done with the 1965 magazine that Ray sends me, I'll send it over and you can read it.
Right, exactly.
Because other than that, we don't have time to go. There's not enough chalkboard to write on there.
Exactly.
Right. So Joey asked about my Jeep. One of my neighbors in another bus got stuck in the sand. This sand is like quicksand.
Wow.
So I pulled him out with the Jeep and another guy with a pickup.
Cool.
So that was my first activity with the Jeep.
So this is a real community kumbaya you're in here. I mean, everybody's helping everybody. Everybody's nice. It's like Bizarro World. Like, where the hell are you?
Yeah.
You don't have any platforms, do you?
Do what?
You don't have any platforms like 3x3 platforms to park on, so you can spread the weight out.
Yeah, I bought some of the leveling ramps, but they're real cheap, so I'm gonna make them myself. Yeah. I park on them and they like start to bend and just too much weight.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this guy got stuck. He was driving through and he dug himself deep. His exhaust was on the ground.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he was deep.
That'll do it.
That's the guy that had all the solar panels, right?
Yeah. So he's carrying a lot more weight too. He's probably at 32,000.
Wow.
Yeah, there's some buses here that are they're more than that, 35. They're big dogs though.
Jeez.
There's a guy that has a 20-inch roof raise, 24-inch roof raise.
Wow.
I'm still a lot of ideas, man. Mine's already done, but I wish I did a couple things that they did. But
I don't know.
They said the same thing about me.
You can when you roll back into Ohio, you can get the stall back out and start cutting around.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. As soon as I get back, the solar is going on for sure because I'm struggling.
I'm really surprised you forgot that.
Well, I didn't forget it. It just ran out of time. Then I got frustrated. I was like, you know what? I'm leaving.
Oh, okay.
So we jumped in the bus and bounced.
Right.
But I'm all set up. I just have to bolt the panels on the roof and then plug them in. That's it.
Right.
Everything else is ready.
Nice.
Yep.
So did you get a dolly or a plateau thing for the Jeep? How are you gonna get that home?
Well, I talked the guy into putting a base plate on it and buying the tow bars.
Okay.
So he installed that today, and my brother-in-law sent down my extension that goes up under the bike lift.
Okay. Yeah.
My extension receiver. So I'm ready to go.
Yeah. Oh,
yep.
Cool. That's
I got
good.
some Harbor Freight magnet lights throw on the back.
Yep.
And I'm out.
So
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah, that's good. So
you gonna go to that?
What?
You gonna go to that Daytona event coming up? Was that next week? No, not next week. Week after, right?
I think it's like 2 weeks. No, I don't think so. We'll probably start heading back up the hill.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna get back and do my solar panels and do a couple other little tweaks.
Cool.
Then there's another schoolie event in New York, and there's one in Upper Peninsula. So we're gonna hit those this summer.
Nice.
And as soon as it starts to get cold, then I'm gonna start heading west. So we're gonna stay on the East Coast.
A while before it gets cold in Florida.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna stay on the East Coast, up and down the East Coast until it starts to get cold again. Then we'll head out west.
Yeah.
I don't want to be out there in the summer where it's hot.
Oh yeah, right.
It's true.
Yeah. So that's a game plan. Nice is we don't have a plan. We just
that's perfect. Yeah.
You don't need a plan. Just go do whatever you want.
That's great.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna pull out of here Saturday or maybe Sunday, and then we're gonna go hit the beach somewhere and sit there for a couple days, and I might come to Tampa, see you.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
All right, I'll be here.
The allure of that is so cool, so strong, but I really don't think I could do it. I really don't. So used to the, hustle and bustle and all the other stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we just do whatever. We get up and say, "What do you want to do?" I don't know.
Right. Let's go get the windows tinted on the Jeep. All right.
Yeah.
We'll do that.
Yep.
So I guess you got temporary Florida tags on the Jeep, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Right. So it'll be a trip to DMV when you get back to Ohio.
Yep. Yep. Just
Good
come
evening,
back,
guys.
You're black.
It's really dark over there where you are.
Yeah.
You're in witness protection.
Here, watch
He's in
this.
the eclipse.
Oh,
Were you in a closet? Oh,
Yeah.
No.
camera is on.
Here, how's this? How's that?
Oh, he's
Oh,
driving
you're
down
in
the
the
road.
I'm in the truck.
okay.
That's the only reason I put
Yeah,
you on. I thought you were.
Yeah, Ray, you were asking where the term Jake brake? Jacobs Electronics were the ones back in the 50s who discovered the compression brake on diesels. So it's Jacobs Electronics or Jacobs is where Jake brake came from.
Is that the same? Is that the same Jacobs that made the ignition boxes?
I you know what? I don't know.
They're
But I
very
just
popular for ignition boxes and timing controls, under dash timing control. So you can roll it back if you wanted to go up a hill. You could retard the timing and not. Yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, there's I think, like Lewis was saying, there's technically a difference between a compression brake and a exhaust brake. Like on a tractor, like on this ISX, this International I'm driving, it's got a exhaust brake. Or excuse me, compression brake. I had that back.
I got exhaust brake.
Right, where Brian was saying, they've got them where they're in the exhaust, and there's a valve that, as you need back pressure to help that resistance to help compression brake against the truck, where it clams the exhaust shut. So, like where a tractor like this truck and my Detroit, because this has got an ISX Cummins, the other truck's got a Detroit in it. It's actual. It bolts on, and the old two-stroke diesel, two-stroke Detroits were the same way. They bolt on right there by the fuel injector. So it like hangs it. I forget exactly how it does it. It hangs something open so that it lets the compression, instead of blowing it out the pipe, it kind of just keeps it swirling in the chamber to slow it down.
Okay.
So you can't speed up, and it's electronically activated. As soon as you, like Brian was saying, as soon as you crack the pedal, it actuates, and then that's, so you basically set, turn it on, set how many cylinders or whatever, how advanced, or some of them are simple. They're 2 or 3 cylinders. Mine is adjustable. I can go 2, 4, or 6 cylinders.
Mm-hmm.
The Freightliner does like 3 or 6, high or low.
Mine did 3 or 6. My Freightliner.
Yeah, like high. I think it's like high is 6, 3 is just 3 injectors. So, but I'll have to do some checking on that, Ray, to see if it's the same Jacobs Electronics. But that's where the term Jake comes from. It's Jacobs.
Probably is.
Okay. Yeah.
Those guys. those guys had their fingers in so many areas. It was, really, the engineers. Hopefully
Yeah,
it's not.
back when I started on the radio show, we had another co-host, Mike T, the motorcycle mechanic, but he had a Bronco, and he was so proud of the fact he put the Jacobs ignition in the truck, and he put the timing control in. So he used to go upstate with his with his snowmobiles all the time. He, had two of them on a trailer. So going up into the hills and to the Mid Hudson Valley and up into the Catskills, and I don't know if he went to the Adirondacks. I don't know when it's the Catskills. He used that timing control. So it was kind of what a computerized ignition does now, but it gave him a rheostat to dial down the timing to retard it going up a hill, so he didn't detonate and ping. They could advance it again manually.
It's like going back to the Model 2.
Kind of, yeah. So and he always showed it off like, yeah, look at this, I got my Jacobs electronics box, like, and not a lot of guys were hep to it. There weren't a lot of guys that were into it, but he loved it, and it worked.
Yeah, same thing with the old timing. Advance the timing or pull the timing back or throttle up, throttle back, like the tractors.
Right.
Vince, thanks for sending me that coupon.
You're very welcome, Brian.
It came in, man. This thing is a beast. This thing, man, I tell you one thing, man, it takes some paint off, dude.
Where'd that come from, Brian?
Eastwood.
From Eastwood, okay.
I went ahead. Remember, I don't know when we were talking the last week when we were talking about it.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I really hate just to go buy the Harbor Freight one.
Right.
But the Eastwood one is so expensive, and it's actually a little smaller. The Harbor Freight one was really huge compared to this thing, and I was like, man, I hate to be halfway there. So of course I get this, I hear the bing in the phone, somebody sent you a message, and it's Vince, and it was $99 from Eastwood.
Wow, that's a great deal.
That was a great deal because that was like $89 off or $90 off.
Yeah, that's a great deal.
And I was like, all right, that's it. I'm not even going to. I'm not going to question it. I'm not going to. Let's just go ahead, take my money.
So now you can do decks and floors in your spare time.
I'm going to tell you something, dude. I think I'm going to try it on the concrete, man. I want to clean the floor. But they had even
uses a back scratcher.
Man, I tell you, you want to take a bath? Well, I'm going to tell you one thing. It's going to clean you. But they even had some of the other wheels. All the wheels were on sale.
What grid is that?
So I got a wire wheel.
You got a wire wheel? What is it?
Yeah, this is for aggressive, but man, this thing clean. Boy, I tell you, I don't know what grid it is, but it's
It should say on the end cap. I thought they had like a little 40 or this one or something, or
this one. But this one is a steel wire drum. But I got a 80 grit, and it came with a 60 grit. Oh no, I got a 60 grit, and it came with an 80 grit, and I had gotten a 40 grit, and I got this wire wheel. I figured for the undercoating, and but
it was just so funny because we were talking about it last week on the show. You had asked me, and I was like, well, yeah, I have one, and I love it. It's great when I get to use it. And the next day, it popped up that it was on sale, and I was like, oh, here, Brian was asking about it, so I shot him the coupon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
I was like, man, when I saw it, I was like, because I think even like, I think the Harbor Freight one was like $150, because it was like almost $50 cheaper than the Eastwood one. And I was like, man, maybe I'll just stick with my old wire wheel. And
nah.
And I was like, nah, I don't know. But that thing's a beast, man. You turn that thing, it's the light surges. I'm like, man, this thing is killer.
I don't know about the rest of you guys, but I really find it heartening to see the tool man get turned on by a tool that he doesn't have on his truck. Because it means he's just like the rest of us. Oh, and Louis, you
Back
got
to
to see,
reality.
man, that's the beauty of a show like this, where I think we were even talking about that when we were off air. We were offline last week, but you remember stuff, and you turn your friends on to deals with my buddy needs that. Yeah, send it to him.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I mean, again, and this is a 40, and this is what the one it came with. This was a 80. This was a little finder.
Yeah.
And I got the 40 grit on the thing.
Nice.
But it cleans, dude. Boy, it cleans right down.
You're gonna make a mess. You're gonna make a hell of a mess.
Yeah, well, I'm like trying to figure. I'm like, man, it's too bad they don't have a vacuum cleaner hookup on it.
Right.
I think they do. I think they make one.
Really? I have to look because
I think Eastwood. I think I've seen it on their one of their commercials.
I'll have to look because I was like, I'd laid the vacuum cleaner down by it, which did okay, and just had it running, and I was just running along, but it cleans up pretty quick, dude. So I'm really pretty ecstatic. It was really cleans.
Yeah, like I
And
told you,
it'll take you for a walk, man. It'll take you for a walk.
like I told you, I was real happy with mine, and I had the Eastwood or half the Eastwood, so that's why I could recommend it. And I was like, I'm glad it worked out for you.
What wheels do you have?
I think I've got an 80, 120, and a 240 right now. I need to go get a couple. I had looked at I wanted to get the wire wheel and stuff, but I hadn't had time. And what I do like about the Eastwood one is they've got the little brackets where you can run the smaller wheel. So it's not 4 inches wide or whatever. It's like 1.5 inches, 2 inches wide. You just put the adapters on it. So for some of the tight spots, for getting into coves and stuff like that, it seems like that'd be a little easier than trying to get that 4-inch wheel to turn and all that. So
yeah, you don't have that yet, do you?
Not yet. I was going to, like I said, I'm kind of on hold because of the move.
Oh yeah,
and,
I understand.
not really having the garage anymore and all that. So I'm kind of, it's in the bottom of the toolbox, but it's like
it was funny because it came in and I brought it in and brought it downstairs and I did my other stuff, closed my day, did my orders, messed around, and I was like, oh man, it's like 10 o'clock, 10:30. And I said I wanted to try it before it got late,
Oh, but you have a curfew on.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
So I came downstairs, I closed the door, and I come because my garage is under the house, so it's not even like off to the side; it's under the house. So I said, well, let me just see, So I started up, and I start going along cleaning the trunk part, and Brianna comes down. And she goes, "What are you doing?" And I said, I'm trying out my new tool. I said, is it bad? She goes, well, no. She goes, down here, I mean, when I come to the first floor, it's loud. But upstairs, it's not too bad. Yeah. It just sounds like something's vibrating, And I was like, well, can you really hear it upstairs? She goes, no, it's not too bad. I think you'll be okay. So I went on for about like another 45 minutes. And I said, okay, well, I'll find out. So the next morning I was like, so did you hear anything last night? No, what was I supposed to hear? Okay, never mind.
I was going to say, the garage is under the house, but you'll end up under the garage. So now I got a feeling that's got to be definitely one of those tools that's an earmuff wearer, right?
Yeah, well, it's definitely an earmuff, and I hate this. I mean, I don't want to sound all pussy, but dude, you got to wear a mask, man. The dust is so fine,
and safety squints too.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Like I said, it's literally like what I don't know if you can see. It's just like a powder. You know, it just comes all. I mean, it's so fun. I mean, it's really kind of. I mean, the stuff just comes off. I went through undercoating, paint, primer, and also the epoxy paint, the sealant where the guy did in the trunk, and it went right through. And like I said, it's just a fine powder. It's really amazing how it just eats that stuff. I mean, there's just goes right through it.
Yeah, so you definitely need a vacuum system. Lewis's internet just crapped out on him. He says he's gonna amend it by next week. So
he's gonna have a Starlink system, or I mean,
that's
he already has Starlink.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's gonna have a bus with one of those big satellite dome things.
Right. It'll be like Spies Like Us.
He needs the bug from Miami Vice on top of it. The spy van, when the surveillance van from Miami Vice, when they had that big bug.
Okay.
The exterminator, where they always use as the bug, the listening thing. I don't know if y'all remember that.
So something else that Vince said. I got that's people. You don't realize that well, we do realize people do this, but he hit it. Like, that's a bottom drawer tool. Like if that's going in your toolbox, you need a big bottom drawer. That could actually be a cabinet store. Stick a cabinet somewhere. That's a big tool. Or hang it. I guess you could hang it up.
They make a pretty cool rack. Like you had sent me that drum adaptation the other day, Ray. They make a drum Christmas tree. That's it for putting your different heads on.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I saw that because it has, it's got a center like that, so it's got like it reminds me of a cupcake holder from a party. It has like.
Right. I sent Vince a thing, Brian. What it was? A guy took a snare stand from a snare drum. It's a 3-leg stand, and it has 3 arms that come up to the side of the snare, and he kind of feathered them all down in line and put toilet paper on each one and stuck it in the bathroom. So it was like a drum snare toilet paper rack. It was fun. Inventive. You need the floor space though.
Yeah. So
like I said, I always liked it when I was looking for a tool like that. I liked the fact that they had the it's like a Scotch-Brite type drum, or flat discs, or the wire wheels. I mean, it's the different medias that you could clean with in that thing. That's one of the reasons I bought it. Yeah. And don't get me wrong, Brian, I'm not a sissy either, but I do wear a mask and ears and eye protection when I use that thing, because I mean, like I said, you get crazy if you're under a car or something. You're going to have it in your face. You're going to be breathing it. It's just put the ears on so you don't butt. Don't ring your ears that bad. Keep the garbage out of your eyes, and especially we've all breathed enough garbage in our youth and exuberism of working on cars and all that.
It's to the point too when I have a belt sander in the garage, a stationary belt sander. And I'm always doing a lot of aluminum. I fab a lot of stuff out of aluminum sheet, and I'm always like using it to dress down the edges and chamfer it, or just break the sharp edge. And for some reason, the sound, just the pitch of that belt, is just annoying to me. So I have my earmuffs hanging right next to it. Put the muffs on. Even when I'm out and I bead blast in my shed, I'm in a shed. Same thing. I put the muffs on. Just that annoying, that droning of the bead blaster is a killer.
Yeah, I got one next to my bead blaster, or the blasting cabinet.
And it's not the blast cabinet. It's by the recycler, the reclaimer. It's the reclaiming motor, the vacuum.
Yeah.
That sucks the dust. That's what the noise is.
Speaking of noise, are you guys getting a lot of feedback from my ears?
No, you're pretty quiet, Vince. You got a pretty good squelch.
Yeah, that's why I kind of turned the mic off earlier. I didn't know if it was feeding back, Paul, the other day. So
I hear it.
Very low. There's a little bit.
in town.
But yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah, Coach, I'm in witness.
It's not a
I'm in witness.
kick-offable. It's not a kick-offable offense.
I'm in witness protection this weekend.
Yeah, that's okay.
Where you going down? Where are you driving, Vince?
I'm coming back from what you call it, where Freedom Factory was.
Oh, Bradenton.
Yeah. I had to drop and hook in Bradenton, so
you're gonna fly right past my. You going up I-75? You're past my house.
I was earlier.
Yep.
But yeah, my folks live down around. My mom lives in Holiday and my dad lives in Hudson, which is up near 52 and 54 off of 75.
25. Yep.
Near Dade City type area.
Yep.
So
there it is.
Because in a truck it's 6 hours in a car, it's a little longer than that in a truck with a trailer and traffic and all that other crap, and you're only allowed 11 hours.
Yep.
I can't leave Savannah, get there, and then come back. So I always just kind of overnight there. There's a big Flying J in Dade City, so I always stop there and then have breakfast. Like this morning, I had breakfast with my mom and dad. So that's always good to spend a little time with them. My dad's 85 and my mom's 78. So yeah, it's always a good time to spend whenever I time with them.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, excellent.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
We're finally getting rain here.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we had a little bit of rain on what was it, Tuesday night, Wednesday, and then right now a storm just blew in. I can hear it all on the roof.
Okay.
But we've had a really dry winter. Our winter time is usually winter and up to about May. We usually get a couple storms a month, and some good decent wet weather, and it's been dry.
So that sets you up for the spring. So basically, if you don't have a good wet weather, you guys have a really dry, obviously, spring and summer.
Yeah, up until the monsoons hit.
Until the monsoons hit, Jesus.
And then but unfortunately, it's the nerve-wracking part is when it's like this and it's a warm winter. Sometimes it's a preview to what the summer's going to be, and
yeah,
I don't like it. I don't like when it seems like it's going to be hell. It's already hell hot. I don't like it being too hell hot times 2.
Yeah. I tell you, even here, we've had enough days, a lot of wind, just more wind. And it's like, what the hell is going on with this wind all of a sudden, man? Where, I picture a big fan over in China. They're just like blowing the wind.
Yep.
We never had that.
We've had quite a bit of wind.
What is up with the wind?
But yeah,
we've actually had really nice weather here. I'm surprised.
Yeah, we were nice here too. The last couple of days
mild.
were really nice, and it dropped down again. But
it's just crazy because we had like 70. It was 71 yet the other day.
Oh, okay.
And it was 59 today.
Yeah, we weren't quite 70. We were in the 60. We were 60 something the other day. But
and they're calling tomorrow's supposed to be like low 60s, and then Saturday is supposed to be like 72, 70 in the 70s again. But everybody's in a panic mode because it disturbs the cherry blossoms. See the cherry blossoms. Yeah. That's our big local thing, and they're already in phase 1 of phase 6. And we can't have anything too cold because I will mess up the date and we'll throw the party off and the parade. And the one tree that we use for testing is not doing too well. It's because it's 280 years old or whatever. I don't know. But we got to watch out for the cherry blossoms. Please say a prayer tonight for the cherry blossoms.
I know it's a real short run, like the tulips. They come and they go.
Yeah, well, look, it's very important down here. So please, outside forces, we need cherry blossom happiness.
All right. All right.
Brian, do you know where the number 2 spot for cherry blossoms are?
Vince, I was going to say something dirty, but I have no idea.
Well, Ray, where were the Allman Brothers formed at?
Or they formed at?
Macon, Georgia.
Macon, Georgia, right? That's
They have a big cherry blossom. Not as big as up there where Brian's at, but it's same thing there. All the cherry. There's a handful of streets around the downtown area and all that, and the cherry, the trees and all that. They go bananas if something happens and you don't get all the picture perfect magazine cherry blossoms and all that. And it's like, hey, it's weather, it's natural.
Yeah.
See, I'm a big fan of the orange blossom special myself.
Yeah,
The Orange Blossom Special.
Charlie CDB.
Especially with Charlie Daniels on the fiddle, without a doubt.
It's funny you say that because I cracked my favorite coffee cup Tuesday morning, and right after my dad and we all had lunch. I found a TCB coffee cup, so I had to replace the broken one with a TCB, man. TCB.
Okay.
Yeah, we had a neighbor when I lived in Oklahoma City. We had a neighbor across the street. Brett was the guy's name, but he had an old Ford pick-em-up truck, and it was orange, and that's what his CB handle was. The Orange Blossom Special.
Orange Blossom Special.
That was his handle, and that's back in the day when we did cool things. One day I went over and he's working on the truck, and I said, "Brett, what are you doing?" And he had Tester's paint out, and he was painting stripes on the fan, on the fan.
Oh, yeah.
And we're all like, dude, you can't see it when it's spinning. Then he got the timing light out and put the timing light on it, and you can see the stripes and that's when he had. That's when he had pure entertainment.
Yeah. That's cool.
Those were the days.
So, Brian, I was thinking of you because I was talking to my Mustang buddy. He's ordering a dash harness for that car, and they're expensive.
It's the most expensive part.
He sent me these links from CJ Pony and then from American Auto Wire and
Ron Francis.
But not from Ron Francis. No, it's the one he didn't send. But they came out with they called it an underdash harness. I was like, underdash? It's behind the dash. And like, it's a full dash harness, but it doesn't have a wiper control. I'm like, what the hell is that all about?
Yeah.
So I actually said to him, I said, I would send these over to Brian and ask him. I said, Brian, we were just talking about that you're not up to that step yet. So I figured you're not really fully familiar with all the stuff that's on the market.
Yeah, I've been looking because, like I said, I've got my, I guess the easiest way to put it is when I finish with Granddad's cough syrup, those jars become my piggy bank for the next step.
Okay.
So the wiring jar is being filled with my change at the moment because, like I said, I've looked at a couple and they have those. I don't want to say if it was because of the option, but you had a single windshield wiper, then you had a 2-speed windshield wiper,
and then there's a 3-speed heater.
Right, and on some of that stuff, they were add-ons. So you had your main harness, and then you added on to.
See, I told him, I said, his car has an underdash deal installed AC. I said, you already said you're yanking that and putting in a vintage air. I said, so you don't need the heater control at all because your heater control is going to be through the vintage AC. That's going to be your, I told him that's going to be your heater core and your evaporator.
He's all plug up the outside vent, right? I mean the cow vent, right? He's plugging that all up.
So he sent me harnesses that went between like $300 and change up to almost $900.
Yeah.
And I said, dude, don't go crazy. But so what that did is that made me think about my own car, and I found this controller. I think I sent you the link to this. This is the controller that does the intermittent wipers on the older cars.
Yeah, you sent that.
So this is all plug and play, very easy on the dash, but you also need to give it a dedicated power and ground. And I know that I kept a standard fuse box in my car, and I'm running out of taps. I mean, I think I ran out of taps. So I investigated and I found, like I was showing you, Brian, a secondary little fuse board to put in the car just to give you like 6 more fuses. So I ordered one of those, and then I said, you know what? I need a tap under my hood, even if it's just a power tap, because I hate growing the cluster off the battery. It's I don't like the way it looks. First of all, it's not the best theory. Secondly, and third, I don't like the way it looks. So I ordered a fuse box, not a fuse box. It's a board with 6 relays in it, and they're fused. So you power that off the battery. So I'm thinking, perfect. I got 2 relays for my headlights. I'll have 2 relays for the cooling fans, and that'll give me 2 more relays for future use. And I just have to find a place to mount that. But
Yeah.
so I ordered all that stuff that's going to come in this weekend, and then I'll have to start playing.
When I
Great.
had my aviation lights, when I had the aviation lights and the stereo system in the Mustang, believe it or not, I did have an auxiliary fuse box. It came out of a Porsche. It was because they were mounted on the side and they were made out of Bakelite. You know, they were like a square about that big, and it had a cover. Just like you said, you had a power in, and they took those funny little bullet. You know,
those are the fuses that are in my Fiat. The ceramic fuses. Yeah.
So
It looked, the plastic got the like soldered on the end with the plastic. Little body. Yeah. Volkswagen, or all the Audi,
German,
Volkswagen. German, the Germans, all that use those.
Right.
So, I mean, I have to admit that I understand. I know I made a comment about, you know, I just want something simple. And personally, like I said, you know, I don't know what I'm going to do when I get to that point. But,
you know, like I said, I wish I would have thought of this in the beginning, but I didn't. And now that so now I got to kind of backwards engineer it. And space is always the issue. Like, where do you put this stuff? But in the long run, it's going to be, you know, and I wanted something that would be waterproof or at least weatherproof under the hood.
Yeah.
And the one in the car is different. So, yeah, and so I went, Vince, to your point earlier, I did go onto Ron Francis's website, and they still issue a catalog.
Oh, yeah.
And I got it today. So the green sticker says price increase as of 2/1/22. See our website for current pricing. But you want to flip through a catalog, and they have a section in here that's just tips, and it's all wiring and electrical related tips. And I tell people, if you do nothing else, get the catalog and just read those tips because they're phenomenal. It's all from common sense and good electrical, husbandry, if you will.
And I know, well, like I said, I know me, and personally, I'll be lucky if I even have heat or anything hooked up in the car anyway. I didn't have it when I was a kid in the car. Like I said, I'm not life of luxury. I'm hardcore. I don't need life of luxury.
Brian, let me bring this up to you. Let me bring this point up to you because, excuse me, my buddy is in the process of doing a Fairmont, and the same thing where he's kind of recreating 69 Grande that he had back in the mid 80s, and it was one of the first pro street cars in Savannah. And this car is getting a small heater core and a blower fan.
I'm John Bennett.
Because even being hardcore, when you can't see out the windshield because it's frosted or fogged up,
you need a
it's a pain in the butt. So that's like I said,
I know
that's like I said, that Fairmont's getting a defrost to keep the windshield clean.
Vince, with the old car, and also I went through this all the time with the motorcycle. You're out at night, you're doing your bar hopping, come out of the bar at like 3 a.m. and everything was like dew. Everything is just like wet. And the motorcycle is just like, it's like, damn, we're only going to wipe this. Yeah, nothing to wipe the seat with, It's like, shit. I want to go back in and get napkins, but they locked the door already. It's like, So you always carried a rag. But the car too, now you need that defroster to get home. And yeah.
Well, that's why you have the little flap windows. See, when I'm going to tell you something, it was kind of funny when I got my Fox body, my '89 GT, and the first week that I drove that car versus driving the Mustang, I was completely lost because I didn't have my little flap window to blow air, and I'm like, God, this thing's. Why couldn't they put a post in here? Why couldn't we have a flap one?
Yeah, but you had a more modern car with a better heating system than the other
but
one.
that wasn't. All I had was, I had 2 nickels and a dime. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have the whole. I didn't have a quarter. I just had the 2 nickels and a dime.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Call me weird, but I like the abuse. Hey man, I drove around. That's just like in the Scout bouncing around, dude. I mean, everything I've ever had was.
I know your dad. I know your dad loved you dearly, but I think that's why he smacked you in the head once in a while. Brian, you knucklehead.
Yeah, well, the guys get upset when I tell them.
If you had a defroster that worked, you wouldn't smack the garage door.
Oh yeah.
And then have to repaint it in the middle of the night.
Yeah, repaint it.
Paint the wrong color. Because my dad mixed it. Yeah, but that's why I tell these guys with these driving these new German cars how much of a pussy they are, and and they're like, we didn't have any of this stuff. We didn't have any traction control or any of that stuff. That stuff.
No, it's true. We had to drive it out, and then we had drum brakes to stop it.
Yeah.
So you had to be able to drive it out and then get the thing halted. It was not easy.
Traction control was your right foot.
Yeah, exactly.
That was your right foot.
It's like in the old AFD rail days, where the clutch was basically, the clutch became your traction control device. You just burn the tires, It's
take a little power off. You push in the clutch a little bit,
That's it. That was it.
And of course, I upset a lot of my customers because when they're talking about their car, I usually tell them they're missing 4 cylinders.
Yeah, they like that.
And that doesn't go over.
No.
I'm not very good with customer relations.
Hey, I got my new Hemmings magazine in the mail, and I read Jay Leno wrote an article in the beginning. He's got that Chrysler Turbine car.
Yeah.
And he said he got it in 2013, and it ran well. And he said the thing with the turbine cars, you have to watch the turbine temperature. I think he said it was like it's got to stay between 1,200 degrees. And then he started seeing that it was going up to like 1,300, and then all of a sudden it was like up at 1,700, 1,800, 1,900. So he shut it down, had the car towed back, and he started looking around and found that was a problem with those cars. One of the reasons they didn't catch on. But he found somebody who turned him on to. There was a bunch of guys still living who worked on that project. And he said he had a total of 60 guys working on rebuilding this car for him, the turbine engine, and the idea was one guy was saying his job back in the day was there was a I guess a big shield inside that has, I think he said it had, 12,000 holes drilled in it. And he wanted to do them in a hexagonal pattern, but they couldn't figure out how to get it done. You'd actually have to broach them, I guess, use a broaching bit. But so they just had to drill them round, because he did the math and figured out that the hexagonal pattern would be much more efficient and scavenge, and it would really do what they wanted. But they just physically couldn't do that for time and money. So now that he was redoing this, doing the car now, he did it. He actually got to see his design come to fruition.
Yeah.
So Leno said, at the end of the day, all the guys it really just cost him parts and I guess some labor. They just wanted to see this thing get back up again. And he says now the car's back up again. It runs cooler than ever because it has about the power of a 318. It's not really powerful, but now it's dead nuts reliable. And
I built that model
Yeah,
Johan made that model, that turbine car.
I just thought it was kind of cool that he's he's the guy to drive something like that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
whatever.
if you've ever heard the story, Ray, about he was out in traffic on his turbine bike, because he's got one of the bikes with the turbines in it.
Yeah. That was a few years ago.
And he's still got the bike. He's one of the guys like, kind of like us hardheads that don't get rid of things.
Yeah.
So he's talking about, he goes, I'm in traffic in LA. And he goes, I see this guy in his BMW keeps, or I think whatever it was, I think he said BMW. He goes, he just kind of kept creeping up on me. And he goes, I'm kind of walking the bike forward. He goes, because, the exhaust tip on this thing's 1,300 degrees. And it's at the back of the bike and it points down. And he goes, I'm kind of creeping the bike forward. And this guy keeps nudging up. Has no idea that the front end of the front fascia on his car is like melting because of the heat. As he keeps nudging, and he sees it. He's kind of scooting forward. And again, he's like, dude, I'm nudging up for a reason. And finally, he pulled off, and he goes like half of the front of the car was like drooping because the ABS plastic it just melted the front end of this guy's car, and he's like. He's kind of chuckled to himself. He's like, dude, that's why I was pulling up and trying to, and of course, I guess Mr. on his phone, LA, whatever, I had no idea. The guy's pulling forward. So
Right.
But I laughed when he talked about that. He goes, the guy just keeps nudging up, and he goes, the front end on that beamer keeps melting as he's nudging up.
Well, I'll teach him.
I should have turned the afterburner on. Really get him out of the way.
Yeah.
Burn down on him.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that is one thing to give Leno his props is he drives his stuff.
And he said, he put how many thousands of miles he put on the turbine farm, but he did. He put some road time in. Great.
And he, he said a lot of prophetic things in the hobby world about, in the 20s, technology was expensive and labor was cheap. Now technology is cheap and labor's expensive.
Yeah.
And the other one that everybody uses, you yourself, Ray, it's only original once.
Yeah.
You can restore them 100 times. He goes, they're only original once.
That's true. Very true. He was on Tim Allen's show this week, Shifting Gears. Leno made an appearance with his Overhead Cam 6 Firebird that was in last month's Hemmings magazine. So, some cool stuff. Neat stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
went
crazy.
to Orlando. What's today? Tuesday. Place called RC Struts or RC Springs. Bunch of racing guys. I told them about the show. I said, hey, you guys, you have to check the show out. Thursday nights playing in traffic.
Yeah.
Oh, I went to Orlando Monday, and then went to a doctor appointment for my kid, and then we went to Andretti's go-karts.
Oh, you didn't go to White Castle?
No, he wanted to. I was tempted to go, but I was like, I don't know.
They've got one of those Andretti kart places up north in North Atlanta.
Yeah. Here, I don't know if I could ever stay away from White Castle if I was out of state. If I lived out of state, it's like just like a good New York pizzeria. Like, how do you stay away from that?
Yeah.
But,
Ray, crystals are fine. Just say that to yourself.
Yeah,
crystals are fine.
I know, and I haven't gotten to a Crystals yet. I did see one, but it was in kind of a sketchy neighborhood, and I was by it late at night, and I said, I ain't stopping in. I'll have to wait. I never did get to go back.
Crystals in our youth was the ultimate bar food or after bar food because we knew exactly how many crystals you could buy for $20.
Well, that was White Castle. Yeah.
You stop and it's like, okay, 20.
Yeah,
it was, $20.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Vince. It was $20.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I didn't want to go to White Castle and then go to go-karts and I'll be all the way in Orlando, and then you know what happens to White Castle right through you.
It doesn't go through me like that, so I'm good.
I don't have them that often.
Okay,
Too
well,
much
yeah,
grease.
better safe than sorry. Yeah, better safe.
Yeah, so like, oh, I'll get something that's proven to
Yeah.
stay in my stomach for a while.
Yeah.
Down here, we go. There's a place called Nico's. There's Los Betos and Nico's, and it's a burrito shop, taco shop,
What a surprise.
and yeah, what a surprise down here, right? But that's where we'd go after we'd be out drinking and partying or whatever. And the one we used to go to was a couple miles from the university, so we'd specifically go there because the girls would come there,
Oh, yeah.
you know. So either
got-
after a night of partying and drinking or after a night of cruising.
Right. Got to pick your spots always.
Coach, you got any Taco Locos out there?
No Taco Locos.
I got a feeling they're primarily in Texas because they do a nice taco. It was always really good after a night of hanging with the boys, as they would say.
Yeah.
We have Del Taco, which is, I guess they're from California.
Oh, Del Taco.
Yep, Del Tacos are pretty good.
And then we have, I think it's El Pollo Loco.
Right.
And it's all, but I've never really, I've had somebody bring me some chicken from there, but I've never really been in there.
I think we have those here. Been there once. I'll try, every place at least once, and then depending if I go back.
Sure.
And I don't think I've been back there, so I probably wasn't that impressed.
Yeah.
They had a place nearby that they just closed. I think there's one still left that the old man started. It's down on the south side, but it's called Luke's, and it's Chicago style sandwiches. Italian beef with hot peppers.
Like Portillo's.
Yeah, I right on my birthday, I drove over, big old smile on my face, pulled up, and I'm like, the neon sign's not on. That's weird. And there was a picture in the window, and I was like, oh, this isn't getting good.
Yeah.
And I walked over, and it said closed for good. No more. And I went, man, it sucks. That place has been around since I was a kid. My dad introduced me to it.
Good beef sandwich is good, man. I like those things.
How about the Vince? You ever have the
biscuit?
Yeah, you ever have that brisket sandwich at Buc-ee's?
Yeah.
Uh-oh. That was it.
Did he freeze?
I think he froze.
Well cooked.
I think
Fresh brisket on the board.
Yeah, I was surprised. For a gas station food, it was pretty good.
Wow.
The other strange thing the other day, I didn't never realize this on the FJ, it has 3 wipers.
Yes.
I was like, wow, because it was raining and I saw FJ in front of me. I'm like, that's weird. It's got 3 windshield wipers.
The windshield is very short.
Yeah.
So if they had full-size wipers, they'd hit the top.
It'd go off. It wouldn't clear one spot.
I mean, I'm not 6 foot something, and to get at that middle wiper is a pain in the ass.
Yeah, I
It
can
really
imagine.
is, especially when I change it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, 3 wipers.
Yeah, I've never seen that.
I got 3 wipers on my S10 Blazer, 2 in front and 1 in the back.
Yeah, but there's 3 in the front. It's like there's
know.
one in the middle. Like, that's strange.
So the interesting thing about that windshield is it's almost vertical, like a Hummer. So sun really doesn't come into that truck. It doesn't get hot in there because you don't have that like a big angle that the sun, an incident angle for the sun to hit. It almost has to hit it like, come in parallel to the hood.
Yeah.
So you really don't get hot. The other problem is they say it's very prone to rock chips and getting broken because the rocks don't hit
It just hit.
They don't glance off yet.
Luckily, mine hasn't broken yet, so I'm just
Too much. Okay.
I'm waiting for Brian to get back and show him this.
That's
Glad you had fun.
That's pretty wild. That's nice though that it doesn't soak up the heat.
No, and
I
especially
mean,
with the white roof, it also helps reflect the sun. Yeah, it
Yeah.
really stays cool in there. And the back window, you can open that back window and pop it up. So a lot of times, especially in the spring or even through the summer, I'll drive with that back window open.
Yeah.
And just kind of pulls air through. Really kind of nice. Yeah. So Brian, you got a shopping cart behind you, dude. What the hell's going on?
What?
You got a shopping cart behind you.
Oh yeah. That's what I use on the tool truck.
Oh, that's your tool truck shopping cart? Okay.
I load it up with the goodies and I
Oh.
walk into the dealership with them.
Okay.
I got 2 or 3, but we're still alive. Can't talk about stuff like that.
And they say Walmart on them.
Yeah.
No, they're Safeway because my buddy, I have a buddy that runs a Safeway. So
All right.
yeah.
All right, look what I got.
Oh, you
Got it
got
from
it?
eBay.
One? Oh yeah.
Found them. Yeah, just go to eBay and I just bought it.
Why? I found one when I showed you, and I found 2 more, and I was going to send them to you, but now you already got it.
You can send it to me. This is all I collected in Hot Wheels.
Hold on for a moment.
You're breaking the picker's creed there, Keith. You can't go buy them.
We went to Target and I looked and all right, they don't have them, and that was it. I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna buy them.
When I was food shopping this week, right by the register was a big square thing filled with matchboxes. And the first one I pull out was a car that had white wheels on the back. Like, wow, I wonder if this is one of those special chase pieces. Like, oh, I don't know, throw it back in.
But Brian, check this out. The backs, I just noticed, the backs are different. Can I get both of them in the picture? Look, like this guy's got this little red circle and hot
circle,
Yeah.
Hot Wheel, hot trucks, and it's different.
Turn it over to the front.
Yeah, the front.
One says lifetime and one set doesn't.
Yep.
Because one's a U.S. package and one's a European or overseas.
So this one like from Korea or something?
No, it's just
Oh, the SKU's different.
yeah. It's just an international card.
Oh.
Well, this is what I got.
Oh yeah, it says UK.
That's the
is that Cobra's car?
Yeah, Cobra, right?
It wasn't flamed in the show though.
No, it's not. Yeah. It's not listed as the Cobra car, but it's a Merc. Yeah,
it's just a Merc. Yeah, that's got a hardwood hood scoop on it too. He didn't have a hardwood.
Yeah,
he had one of those like the Ford hood scoop on his.
And then the hood does come up. There it goes.
Yeah, that's a M2.
Yeah, it's an M2.
Yeah.
I actually was looking at this every time I went to Walmart for about 2 or 3 months, and I was like, you know what, I need to get it. Every time I went in, I was like, oh, hold off, if it's
still
here.
There.
And it was still there. And then I got a couple of these.
Oh, sweet.
They're M2s too.
Is that that's the Dodge truck, right?
Dodge,
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, nice.
Power wagon or something.
Yeah.
Can't believe you took it out of the package.
There's a guy at one of the cruise nights I go to who has one that he restored. It's orange with the black stripes. It's really cool.
I think I have the one.
It's got a 360 in it though. It's like those. It was in the Malaysia years for Chrysler.
Yeah, like what 78 or something like
actually,
that.
Believe it or not, you talk about taking it out of the package. It's worse than that. That was the holiday ones that came in the Christmas ball. I took it out of the ball.
Oh wow!
But before I did, I got another package. So
got two. Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to play with one of them.
Sometimes I stick them up here, and if I'm brainstorming or maybe brain farting, not doing much, I'll just sit there and roll it around. Daydream.
So, Brian, you'll know what I'm talking about because I sent it to you. I didn't send it to these guys. That commercial on TV for the iSurvey, that Mustang that's in that commercial, that thing got me so I went down such a rabbit hole with that thing. Jim's laughing, and I started researching it. I know the model's name. Model's name's Yvonne, and you got to read the comments. Guys are saying, "Oh, she's creeping on the little boys at the end." No, she wasn't. She gave them a kind of a look. But the car got me wondering, like, it was just an old custom that they just dragged out of somewhere or what? But something like one of the first two comments said, "No, it was digitally altered in post." Now I can see that. I can see that. So I actually sent it to the guy whose Mustang I'm working on, who is a videographer, and he didn't think so. He thought it was legit. I was like, it could be, it definitely could be legit. I mean, things look a little off.
Yep.
But it's again, you're looking at a representation.
It's a Mustang, but it's not a Mustang.
Well, I think it could easily. Well, somebody said that they thought it was like a fiberglass body on a different car. It was like made to look like a Mustang, but it's not. I don't know. I could see it being a real Mustang, just heavily modified. They flat slab sided it, which is, I mean, it's a look. The taillights are different. In the front, it's got the square headlights, different grille, one-piece bumper. There's no directionals in the pan. Shaved door handles. I guess the brake pedal looked original, but so I don't know. I'm gonna make that a show topic this week. I sent it over to Chris and said, "Study this. It's gonna be a test." I'm gonna talk about it.
There, when I watched it, I was like, "Is that a Australian Ford? No, there's Mustang. I see Mustang," and then I went, "No, that's okay." I'm like, "What the hell is going on?"
Right.
And then I caught all the other things where she's driving and it says you shouldn't be driving and all this stuff.
Well, it's a commercial for this condition, dry AMD, vision loss, and they actually do inject whatever it is. They inject your eye, so it's kind of creepy. But and then guys are saying, well, why is she putting on the comments like, why is she putting on lipstick before she gets a shake? I'm like, oh geez.
I remember seeing that commercial originally.
Oh,
and that car reminded me so much of the one Barris did for Sonny and Cher.
That's also what a lot of people have been saying, and I agree with that. Yes.
Because if you bring that car up, he did one for Sonny and Cher, and I think it was for Sonny. He had the square headlights in it,
right,
like that car.
And they did. I know they did a different heat treatment. They did like some kind of an animal fur treatment on the seats.
Yeah.
But
I think that's a legit car. That car was legit. I think was.
So.
But I remember.
I don't know when we saw that commercial. It looked like every reference to Ford had been removed. The Mustang stuff had been removed.
Yeah.
The belt line on the fenders and the hood, the doors and the trunk, all of that it's got the funky tail lights. The Mustang
episode of
gas
12.
cap has been removed. Because we saw that and it's like, man, did they like I said, did they CG all of that stuff to get rid of all of the Ford Motor Company stuff? Or
you know what? It was, and my buddy Bill just hit me with this too, and that's what I was just going to say. The other thought was all of that was removed so they didn't have to pay Ford royalties for using a Mustang.
That was the first thought that came into my mind when I saw it. I was like, yeah, these guys don't want to pay any licensing fees.
But Brian said, Jim, if you watch Adam 12, they just put like duct tape over the name Chevrolet or over in the grill. They'll put it over Ford. So they did that. So they had contracts with the car companies, which was kind of funny. But they would do that on TV a lot. So they easily could have just covered up the stuff and called it a day. But I mean, that was definitely, if it's a real car, it was a heavily modified custom like the Sonny and Cher cars. I agree. So, crazy stuff. I don't know. The rabbit holes you go down.
Oh, yeah.
It started to make my eyes hurt.
Yeah, well, now that I know my buddy Bill's listening, I'll tell you another story because he's in on this one. With all the old magazines I read, here's another Cars magazine. This one's from July of 1970, and this one got me too because I'm reading here and there's Confessions of a Street Racer, and they got this dude in here sitting there behind the wheel of his car, and they said he was out of Queens. And the guy almost looks familiar to me, a little bit, but could have been one of Isaac's relatives. I don't know. So and they were saying how he was driving this. This is 1970, so he was driving a '64 Chrysler with a 413 wedge, and they claimed it was like a factory freak because this guy with very little modifications was cleaning house on everybody. He was taking L88s and GTOs and everything. And so the first thing I thought was like, hey, I got a couple of buddies in Queens, and like Bill is a couple of years older than me, and my friend Dougie too. He's a couple of years older than me. I said maybe they know this guy, because he was a hot street racer in the day, and nobody seems to know who he is. So my thought is he could have been like the freaking janitor at the magazine, and they just said, "Oh,
Yeah, it said
right." So it just so happens the guy who ran that magazine, Marty Shore, we've had him on the show, many times. He was partnered with Joel Rosen at Motion. Joel made the steak and Marty made it sizzle. He was the advertising guy, did all the posters and all the advertisements. And he's still around. So I scanned it. I sent it off to him. And I said, hey, Marty, you remember this magazine? It's volume 13. What the hell was it? Get how they did it. No, it was, volume 13, number 7, July 70. I said, from 55 years ago, can you remember who this guy is? I need a name because they just used the initials. And I want to see if he gets back to me. If he's going to tell me either like, oh, yeah, that was like, Jose Puerto or whatever, or he's going to tell me, you know what, fuck, 55 years ago. It's like, okay. So I'm really curious. Again, those things just nag at you.
It was the janitor, JT, janitor 2.
I think it could have just as easily been a janitor or somebody that they grabbed off the street and said,
stand here and look pretty.
We need your picture. But Bill has a keen eye like I do. In one of the pictures, you can see there's just one little shot of well, you see it inside. You see it here. You see inside of his vent window, there's a round decal.
Yeah.
So you're looking at the back of that now because you're seeing the inside. But there was another shot right here, the one of his face, and you can just see that.
Oh, yeah.
Decal. It's a PBA decal. From it was a PBA. So I mean, a lot of guys would run that and try and get themselves out of a ticket or whatever. But that guy was probably an off-duty cop.
Serpico.
Yeah, Serpa racer.
Yeah,
it's funny.
So yeah, it's another rabbit hole I went down. I'm gonna see if I can get an answer to that. But yeah, that Mustang was kind of driving me crazy because every time I saw it, I was like, "Ooh, cool car." And then the more I saw it, the weirder it looked. I'm like, "Nah, there's more going on here than meets the eye."
Yeah.
There's a lot happening here. So, figure we'd throw it out and check. Let me see. Sonny and Cher Mustangs. Actually, oh yeah, images. You know what? They both had square headlights.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Oh, they had one of each, huh? A pink and a tan one, or whatever color it is.
Like the pink one was Cher. Yeah, it says Cher. Sonny. His had the Dynock, the wood grain side. They did the split grill, yeah. The stuff on the, But they both had, so that could be, this also has a one-piece bumper.
Yeah.
It has directionals where the other one didn't. Now I'm going to have to look at that other one and see if they did a split grill on it. I don't know.
I don't think it did.
Yeah. Oh, this one had the nice, had the.
But the Mustang, the fenders were one piece.
What do you mean one piece?
The bumpers, they were one piece.
Yeah, it had a one-piece front bumper for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
And these cars do too. Yeah, this one had like a some kind of an animal skin interior. But yeah, these were pretty. They had a model kit too. It was a AMT. They had a model kit.
Model kit. And I can't remember. I think they put the Cougar lights in the back. The ones up and down.
Oh yeah.
I think it had the Cougar lights instead of the Thunderbird like mine. It had the actual. I think they were Cougar lights in the back. don't know. It's been a while since I saw it.
There you go. It's really just.
Can you blow that up? Can you? Is it?
No, it won't. It won't get bigger.
But those have the. Yeah, those weren't. Those have the bars going across like yours instead of Cougars were up and down.
And he also took the style light on the deck lid and came down and made the peak on that rear valance.
Yeah, on the rear valance, and they took the gas cap. The gas cap's gone.
Yeah, plus it looks like little wheel flares.
Yeah,
which are nice. Yeah, with some.
The colors look. There's a newer picture somewhere I found, and the colors look way different.
A newer one, you know, like somebody had taken them and restored them.
Maybe, but the colors, like the pink, is not as bright in this other picture. It's where did I find it? Ponysite.de.
Yeah, well, look at this one. Yeah, look at this. Is
look how bright that is.
Super bright.
Yeah.
So this car, he kept the coves on the car. On this one, the one on TV doesn't have the cove.
Yeah, they reverse them. That's same front and back because the front isn't cut open. I mean, is open. It doesn't have that rear.
And he did shave the door handles. This car is strikingly close to the one on that commercial.
Yeah.
It I could see if somebody took this and filled in the coves from front down, the doors is the same. Of course, the back is different.
Here's the one from the commercial.
Where?
The one. See, he's got
Who's got it?
Isaac. Isaac's got it on, and then see, it doesn't have.
Share the screen, Isaac. Share the screen.
It's on my phone.
It's on his phone.
Oh.
You know what? I screenshot it. I can text it to you.
No, you know what? I can do it. I'll just
What I did is I sat here watching the commercial.
And you were clicking pictures away. You got like 700 pictures.
Probably.
Frame by frame.
I know.
I was going to say the one part that irritated me or I caught in the commercial is they show her pressing the gas and the brake. And then the next shot is her sitting parked, drinking her shake. The car's not moving. I'm like, oh, well, it didn't just mess with her eyes. You don't know if she's driving or she's sitting still. She's mashing pedals.
So, yeah, that's
all right, we're going to get out of here.
All right, Jim.
All right, Jim.
It's my time stuff to take care of.
Yep.
Take care, guys.
Take care. Be safe.
And this car has the. Wait a minute. Wrong.
Holy smoke! That was a rabbit hole there.
Those mirror things.
Yeah, like the.
All right, so let's see. Let's go back. Yeah. So this car's got round mirrors. The other one had racing mirrors.
Yeah, and they like shaved the whole side.
So, this one has door handles. I thought they were shaved.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought the door handles were shaved. Okay. Of course, guys are asking, what's the model's name? Where is she?
That's a 66 dash in it.
Okay. What's the difference in the 4 and 5?
The 65 dash has a long I mean, it doesn't have the round holes. It has a long.
Okay. Yeah. So they're saying, why'd she put on, lipstick before she's drinking a shake? Well, who cares? She wants to leave marks on it. And they were gigging her for like trying to pick the kids up. Like being
and she's got the newer turn signal. Those are LEDs and they're sequential. The 3 and then that has the one for the one reverse light because they don't have their reverse lights.
Let me stop here. Yeah. Okay. So there's the one-piece bumper, no directionals.
Yeah.
And the grill is not split. So that's
it's a different grill in it.
Square.
Yeah.
Square.
But it looks kind of thin square.
Yeah, it's weird.
Hey boys.
And then
need a ride?
So the light.
No gas cap.
And no gas cap.
No gas cap. So I wonder how they're filling it. And the lights don't have the vertical bars.
No. but it's got those are I've seen those sold where they're LED sequentials.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, and they have the three stripes, and then you have the one corner, the backup light,
right,
in there. And like I said, that. And it's got it's got the a V8 in it, and
got a 24 California tag on it too.
yeah, but it's got a V8. It's a V8 car.
Now, why do you say that?
Because of the dual exhaust and the way the pipes are coming out. That's for a standard 289C or C car.
That's a one-piece bumper too on the back.
Yeah. Yeah, no bumperlets.
I don't know, but the body line edges look very well defined here.
Yeah,
almost like they were sharpened up a bit.
They probably were. I mean, like a lot of guys they spent a lot of time, but they have the right ones on it because they curve down at the bottom like mine.
Yeah.
Hey boys, you ever seen a Mustang?
A Mustang. I don't know. I had a rough night, but I don't know if I'm work staying. Man, we're
Brian,
still alive. We can't talk about stuff like that. It's after hours.
Brian, you forgot the 5-lug wheels too.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, you know what? Good thing you said that, Brian. Let me end the stream because it's time. So for Lewis Lee and the schoolie, he's busting it out. He'll be back next week, probably hopefully with a better internet connection.
He needs a roll of quarters. That vibration bed has to hold off.
Right. We'll talk more about his flat top and his charging next week. So for Lewis Lee, Motor Mouse Radio, Ray here. Of course, we got Nautical Man Brian. We got Vince doing paperwork. Of course, Keith, and we got Coach Isaac. And Jim is already gone, so we'll see you all next week, 9:00 on Thursday. See ya. Okay.
See you guys.
Where did Ray go?
Ray left. He's left us alive.
We're still alive.
So that means
we're still alive, and Ray's out, man.
He said, "See you guys."
Ray's out, and that means we can't shut it off. It's going to keep going.
I know, and I can't. I hope he can bring himself in because I can't.
Because we can, we don't have a way.
I'm back.
Hold on, there he comes.
There he is.
Just joking. We're back. We're not leaving.
Slight error of hand here. It said leave screen. You're like, whoa, shit! That took me off the whole fucking platform. That's not good.
We're still alive, and you left. I was like, okay, it's a different way of leaving.
Yeah, no, we are. You know what? Hey, wait a minute. It does say still live.
Yeah.
I'll end that right now. Damn it.